Everybody ready?
He's done.
Good. Good. All right, this meeting will come to order. And could we call for a quorum, please?
Yeah, there is a quorum present of the council, and you may conduct this meeting.
All right, thank you. All right, will everybody please rise for the invocation of the Pledge of Allegiance?
Heavenly Father, we gather today with a shared purpose. May our discussions and decisions reflect your will. Grant us the humility to listen to each other, the clarity to understand the needs of our community, and the courage to act with integrity. We pray for unity and understanding as we work together for the betterment of all. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now we're going to go into presentations, and be a presentation of a certificate designated the City of Aransas Pass as Texas Tourism Friendly Committee. Madeline Phillips, from the Governor's Office.
Let me just say, the city received the Texas Tourism designation back, I believe it was in April. This effort was led by Rosemary Vega with the Chamber of Commerce, so I'm going to turn that over to her now.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Madeline Phillips with the Office of the Governor Abbott Economic Development and Tourism Division. She is here with us today on behalf of the state to present a very special recognition.
Hello, council members. Thank you so much for having me down in your community today. Thankfully, not a lot of weather coming in to town, so it's been a nice drive to come out here. As mentioned, I'm here on behalf of the Office of the Governor, Economic Development and Tourism, or more locally known as Travel Texas. That's our brand name. Travel Texas is the state's official tourism office. Our mission is to promote Texas as a premier travel destination in both the domestic and international markets. We do this by conducting research, building strategic marketing campaigns, supporting industry partners, and helping communities like yours strengthen tourism as a powerful tool for economic development and growth. We work every day to ensure that tourism works for Texas and for every community in it. It's such a privilege to be able to present the Tourism Friendly Texas Community Certification to the Aransas Pass Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center. This certification is a major achievement, and Aransas Pass now stands among the first 40 communities in the state to receive the certification. The milestone did not happen by accident. It was happened because of the leadership of Rosemary Vega, President and CEO of the Chamber, and the entire Chamber and Visitor Center team who brought passion, energy, and purpose to this process. Their commitment to showcasing Aransas Pass as a unique visitor-ready destination made this certification possible. And I understand that we've got a few new council members joining us tonight. I want to emphasize what this means for the city. Tourism is economic development. In 2024 alone, Aransas Pass brought in $37.2 million in direct travel spending, fueling local businesses, creating jobs, and generating over $1.4 million in local tax revenue. This money that supports public safety, infrastructure, parks, and services that directly benefit your residents. The Chamber recognizes that tourism isn't just about attracting outsiders, it's about building community pride, creating opportunity, and generating sustainable growth. Through the certification process, they identified ways to enhance planning, engage new data tools, and align marketing efforts that will help Aransas Pass elevate its visitor profile. You've got incredible assets within the community: Redfish Bay, the Lighthouse Lakes Trail, and the Seaman Memorial Tower, and signature events like Shrimpery. But what sets Aransas apart is the people. And the partnership between the Chamber and the city is a shining example of how local leadership can turn potential into progress. Therefore, on behalf of Travel Texas and the Office of the Governor, congratulations to Aransas Pass, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Visitor Center, and the entire city for earning the Tourism Friendly Texas Community Certification.
Come down there?
Yeah, why don't you all come down, and if that's okay.
Rosemary, come on. You're instrumental in it.
You were very instrumental in
You're
it.
the one that started it.
She's trying to hide.
Yeah.
I'm always taking a selfie myself.
They roll. Randy, smile.
Yeah, Randy, big smile, Randy, come on.
I am smiling.
All right, next presentation, discuss opportunities and challenges for enhancing public access along Redfish Bay Causeway, Kirsten Stanzel, Coastal Bend Bays and Estuaries Program.
Yes, Ms. Stanzo is here to give a presentation, but before she does that, I just wanted to say that a few months ago, there was a discussion about a beach over at the Flats. So sometime after that, I had a meeting with Ms. Stanzo. She's with the Coastal Bend Bays and Estuaries Program. And in that discussion, she informed me about a special designation that Redfish Bay has, which would make it difficult for us to have a beach permit by the Texas Parks and Wildlife. So she's here to give a presentation on that.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think actually this is a perfect thing to talk about after the last presentation.
Right.
Because I think, you know, obviously the Redfish Bay Causeway area is a huge asset to this community in this area. And so, you know, I'm excited to the potential to work on this with the city. There's been some ideas thrown out that have some challenges, I think, with them, but I think there's a lot of opportunity there, regardless of whether we can do the beach first, you know, an actual beach kind of environment versus other opportunities like additional things like Lighthouse Lakes, you know, just enhancing the ability for people to get there. I think there's some issues right now. A lot of the property that's being used is private property. So far that hasn't been an issue, but I think there's a lot we can do to build out the public access in that area and really make it, enhance it. So, you know, that's just, let me back up real quick because I don't know how familiar you all. I know there's some new council members, and I just wanted to introduce you to our organization. And so we are a nonprofit. Our whole mission is protecting the bays and estuaries while continuing to provide economic growth opportunities and public access. And so we do everything from big habitat restoration projects, water quality studies, we have an education program, but we also focus a lot on public access. And we work with a lot of the local governments and communities to help them enhance that. I don't want to own a park. I don't want to run it. I'm a nonprofit. But, you know, there's a lot of ways that we can work together to help the city enhance what resources they have. So right now, just so y'all know, we're working with the city at the Aransas Pass Aquatic Center to refurbish your boardwalk. So we got San Patricio County Go Mesa funding to do that. So hopefully that project went out for bid recently, and hopefully we'll start working on the construction component of that soon. We're also working, it's not with the city directly, but we're working with the San Pat Navigation District to redo some of the piers at the marina as well. So they have a long list of things over there. That's the first one that we're trying to work with them on. We're also working with y'all on the Lighthouse Lakes project. So I know the city got some funding from the port. We were able to bring in some dollars from Cheniere Energy as well and contribute to that. So, you know, that helped pay for the bollard system, the new lighting, some of the new picnic tables that were put in. And so I think it's starting to really take shape out there. I think there's still maybe some signage that needs to go in and things like that. But once that's completely done, it's going to be a really huge asset for the community. So, you know, so I've come to a few meetings, I think, where this concept of a beach somewhere along the causeway has been brought up, and I just you know, while I understand kind of the desire to have that kind of opportunity, I do think there's going to be some challenges just because of where it's situated. So as Mary said, the area around here is called the Redfish Bay State Scientific Area. That has a special designation by the state. TPWD is the one who made that designation. But even with that designation, seagrass is a very protected habitat. And so anytime, and that's the great thing about Redfish Bay and why it's such a popular place to go fishing, right? It has the seagrass habitat that provides all call that nursery area for the fish, the shrimp, the crabs, all those things that are bringing the people in here. And so anytime you'd impact a seagrass habitat, you have to mitigate for that. And so if we were to go and try to build to put material down, sand or what, for lack of a better term, somewhere in the Redfish Bay, odds are you're going to have a really hard time finding a spot that is not going to have an impact either to a wetland or a seagrass, and all of those are going to require a mitigation, and it's at a 3-to-1 ratio. So you have to make 3 times more habitat than what you impact, right? So I'm not an engineer. I also think there's going to be some issues with just maintaining that, right, with flow and things. That the places where you could potentially put this, I do think there's going to be a lot of washing away, and there's going to be a constant ongoing maintenance of that area. And so while so I think that concept itself is challenging, but I do think there's other properties and other places along the causeway where we could look at providing additional public access opportunities. So when I was talking to Mary about this, it was previously owned, and there is a boat ramp area that was built out a few years ago. That was done by Nueces County, but the county no longer owns that property. It actually is with the port now, so I think there's a conversation that needs to be had with them. We are having a conversation with a private landowner about potentially acquiring some property, and the way and I think that's could be a great benefit to the city, and I was trying to explain this to Mary. What we have done in the past is, if the estuary program has the ability to acquire the property, we can do that on the city's behalf, and then actually we can donate the property to the city, and the city can use that as match for grant applications later on for public access grant opportunities. We've done that. If any of you are familiar with the Oso Bay Wetland Preserve Learning Center in Corpus Christi, that was done that way, right? The estuary program went and bought the property. We gave it to the city of Corpus Christi. They used that as match for a grant to help build out the trails and infrastructure on the site. And so we're having those conversations right now with the landowner and seeing if there's an interest there. So I think there's things that need to be done, but before we go too far down any path, and before we even completely rule out the beach concept, I think what I'd like to see is a master plan for that entire causeway. So we need to identify who owns the property where, and because there is a lot of public ownership as well, which provides additional opportunities. So we need to identify who the property owners are. We need to have community meetings to talk about what people want to see out there, what kind of amenities are available, and then we need to talk about the challenges that would come with all those different kinds of things. So what is actually feasible based on where it is, and what opportunities are out there. But I think, really, if you picture it in your head, you can see kind of a site here that even connects down to Lighthouse Lakes, maybe a bike trail, and all these things, that could really set that area apart as a real true public access destination, which I think would only enhance your tourism opportunities. So I know y'all have a full agenda, and I hope I didn't blabber on too long, but I think Mary and I talked about maybe coming back. What I have committed to kind of doing is trying to find a funding source for that master plan. So we, work with a lot of different partners, and there's a lot of different ways I think we could get that funded. And so I'm trying to do that right now, but I guess I want to make sure that that's something that the city council wants us to pursue, and we could come back and maybe do a more formal resolution, that to support that. But
Yeah.
I'll stop there. Sorry.
And if the council wants that, I mean, we can bring that at the next council meeting. It would just be a resolution supporting the public access master plan. As she said, it would be conducted and funded by the Coastal Bend Basin Estuaries Program. So I think this is something that we should pursue. If there's a consensus from the council for us to move forward with that, we can bring that back at the next council meeting.
Yeah. I'm good with it.
Same.
I saw some writing. Any questions or anything?
No, ma'am.
I believe there's.
Yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
say something?
I don't know what
Yeah,
how that
yeah,
works.
come up here, mister.
I was the person that brought that idea up of putting a beach down the causeway. I think it's a great spot, but there is plenty of areas that we can look at. I just do think that it should be probably on this side where the ship channel's not at. And if we could explore and maybe put a committee or something together and kind of figure out. I talked to Randy about this the other day, and we were just talking about it, and we do need to do some more homework and figure out what area works. So I completely agree, and if we could have your support on that, that'd be amazing.
Well, I think, again, that can be part of the master plan discussion. You know, in my opinion, I've looked at it pretty thoroughly. I think it's going to be hard to find a spot. I also think the part of the conversation is the maintenance and operation of cost of that. So, you know, I've heard, you know, I understand there's a desire to make it, you know, the Rockport Beach Park is kind of the example that people love, but you know, you have to pay to get in there, and there's a reason for that because there's a really high M&O cost for that. And so, you know, again, I totally open. I think that should be part of the planning discussion, and that's why we want to have those public meetings at that, you know, but we can all sit down and look at it and say, you know, okay, maybe there is a spot I missed, that it is possible. But again, you know, there's a lot of things I think long-term wise that we have to look at other than just kind of the siting of it is a big issue. But, you know, yeah, I think that's our hope is to have that discussion with everybody.
Nessa, that was my issue with the whole thing, is the maintenance and cost, and who's gonna pay for that?
I would say we would charge a parking permit or something to be able to maintain the area, and people are already going out there and somebody's having to go out there and clean it up. So if we were able to charge for a parking permit, we would be able to offset the cost of maintaining the area, and it'd be a huge asset to our town.
Yeah, and I mean, and maybe, again, if there's not, you know, a true beach concept that you could do, I do think there's lots of other things that we could do to provide access for people, you know, to get to the water and have that experience still. And maybe it's not, doesn't look exactly like Rockport Beach Park, but it's similar and, you know, enhancing that whole area.
I think there's two different ways we could go about it. We could do a Rockport style beach where we're bringing in sand or maybe dredging and pumping it out there, or we can go where it's more natural and we're putting just bollards out there for parking, for people to park, some restrooms, some maybe some markers to identify where you're at, and just keeping it really basic and protecting the area.
No, I agree. And I mean, you can do this all right the master plan would probably have some phases, right, where you're going to try to tackle some things that are easier first, and we can kind of build that out over time. It's definitely not going to happen overnight, but we can try to identify kind of the highest level needs, and there's good funding opportunities out there for that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay. Thank you.
Beth, thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to go on to city manager's announcements.
There's two announcements. The first one is we have just as a reminder, we have a special council meeting this Wednesday, June the 18th, at 6 o'clock. The second one is just to remind you that the 4th of July event will be on July the 5th at Combron Harbor, and that's from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mary. All right, next we'll go on to citizens' comments.
So before, if that's okay, this morning, there was a post regarding a TCEQ letter about a lead inventory. I've asked David Flores, our Director of Public Works, to give the council a factual statement on the matter. We're doing this under citizen comments to give the council and the public an update. So with that said, we can't respond to any questions or enter into a discussion because it's something that we're doing under citizen comments.
Okay.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that about 20 minutes ago, I think there was a news article or news story on this. So basically, almost 6-8 months ago was our deadline to do a initial inventory of all our lead service connections. So basically, in a nutshell, you got to go through every single meter, every single household, evaluate what kind of service line they got, jot it down. If it's lead, then we have to come up with a plan to change it. So we weren't able to meet the deadline of taking inventory. So TCQ, we were actually expecting this violation to come through, and it finally came through. And TCQ required that we send this letter out. The thing is that whenever you mix the word lead and water, even in the same page, it gets pretty scary. But the water safe to drink. All we did was miss the deadline of submitting the initial inventory of our lead service connections, but we are going to finish those in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. All right, thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
All right.
I just have one more thing and then I'm going to go.
Okay.
I just wanted to let y'all know that we also just signed up and have been certified to also do the fishing license here in Aransas Pass at the Visitor Center. So
Okay.
once we get trained, because we don't know what we're doing yet, just got all our stuff, we'll be able to also offer fishing license there in the office, as well as we're waiting on the UPS certification to do shipping for the businesses and the locals for mailing, shipping in and out for UPS.
Okay.
nice.
Good
Oh,
deal.
we need
Thanks,
that.
Rosemary.
So y'all have a good evening.
Thank
All
you. Thank you.
Uh-oh.
Slow, but I'm getting
Huh?
here. Donald Brunnett. I got a request. I would have called David and them, but I never have any luck getting them to call me back or talking to them. I've got 2 potholes on McClung and Rice Street that every time a car goes over them things, it jars the house.
Okay.
I sure would like if they would get some asphalt and put it on or something to quieten it down.
Okay.
Another thing, the city can make some money. Fishermen ain't gonna like this. You know, you charge them $3 parking for those fishing boats.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Sit down.
Mr. Bowman, McClellan, where?
Rice.
Hey, Rife.
Right?
Uh-oh. Huh?
Hey guys, Jason Followell. First of all, it's great to see all new faces around the whole board. That's awesome. Nobody up there taking envelopes, which is great. Nobody I didn't get to make fun of him, but Joe was here. Nobody up here squelching people's voices, which is great. It's good to see. I do need some help though. So I know we talk off and on for the last couple of years about the Fuentes' property. I do agree with you that it is a civil matter, but there's also criminal matter. So Officer Luker, Crooker, Liar, I always get their names confused, people that lie, Luker. Officer Luker investigated that and then found that there was no issues, and then later told Dolores' family that if they came on their own property, they'd be criminally trespassed. I don't know how that works since they own the deed to that property. I don't know if you're aware of that, but that happened. And I'd like to meet you sometime this week if you don't mind. Good deal. Okay, so with that said, there's audio recording of the criminal that owns the house saying that he paid off Gary Edwards, who used to sit there. There's an audio recording of that, so I don't know how Officer Luker overlooked that, but that's on there. There's also a big quandary. So I know the officer to my left, who was awesome back here in the corner. She was great. I was very impressed with her. She came out there to do criminal trespass, but he wasn't there. Later on, Officer Luker told the Fuentes that that wasn't going to happen, and if they came on their own property, they'd be criminally trespassed. Here's my issue. They have the deed to the property. That property belongs to them. They can criminally trespass anybody they want to according to law. It is not the department's job to tell them what the law says or states. It's their job to enforce the law. Therefore, if they have a deed to the property, it's their property. If you also skip Officer Luker and investigate it with somebody else, you'll note that the deed to that guy's property who built the house is the adjacent property. His house is also loaned to the adjacent property, so the mortgage is on the other property. That guy has no deed, he has no deed for that property the Fuentes is on, which means that the Fuentes at any time can go and criminally trespass whoever they want. If they wanted to, and I'm willing to help them if they're listening, we'll throw a party there every single night for the rest of the year to get that guy off, and there's nothing the guy can do about it because it's not his property. So there is a criminal and there is a civil. So I would like the APD's help, and I'm glad you're new, so maybe you'll look at it to investigate it and actually do something about it. They have the deed. If I have the deed to my property, I can criminally trespass whoever I want. Right? Everybody agree with that? It's your property. You can criminally trespass whoever you want. A person that doesn't have the right to be on your property cannot tell you to get off of your property. That part is criminal. They also move the stakes on that too, which is a criminal charge too. But if you take a look at that, and I can help you with the data, and I'm sure the Fuentes will come over here and talk to you, but from my understanding through them is Officer Luker shutting them down and telling them if they go onto their own property, they'll be criminally trespassed, which is complete BS if you ask me. So I'd like to talk to you sometime this week. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
City council members, Ms. Yancey, Mary, Chief, Mayor, y'all know who I am. I'm Richard Titus. Thank you for addressing some of the issues that these citizens have complained about, including myself, prompt, on time, and you haven't even been here that long. The last city council people could care less about what the community says, what the citizens of this community say. Nobody cared. Y'all care. Amen. And at the same time, I want to help be part of this process to help make this city a nice city, bring tourism, bring people that want to come here. And I'd like to sit up here and have a voice for these people that don't have a voice. So let's see what happens Wednesday. Y'all have a nice day. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Richard. Anybody else have anything else to say? All right. Well, I guess we'll move into staff reports and other discussion items.
Okay, the first one, well, the monthly department reports are submitted in your packets, so they're provided in written form. The next item is the transfer station scale fees, and Mayor and Council, I'd like to ask if we could postpone this item. We're still working on gathering the data, so if it's okay, we can postpone it till another meeting.
I agree. We need to have everything in order.
Yes, sir.
I agree.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, next we'll move into action items. And consideration of canceling the July 7th, 2025 regular council meeting and schedule a special council meeting on June 23rd, 2025. Okay, we have a motion?
I make a motion. You want to? Go ahead. Oh, okay. I make a motion to consider the cancellation of the July 7th, 2025 regular council meeting and schedule a special council meeting on June 23rd, 2025.
Okay, we've got a motion. We have a second?
Second it.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, moving right along, consideration of approving to award Cassell the contract for RFP 2025-002 Enterprise Resource Planning System for the city in the amount of $115,670.
Hi, good afternoon or good evening, everyone. We went out for bids for an accounting software. That's pretty much what it is. It's an accounting software that's going to do the accounting and payroll and utility billing for the whole city. We've been with our current accounting software since I started here in 2016. There have never been any major updates to it. It's a very manual process. It's very cumbersome. We have different departments that are, I'm going to give you an example. Municipal court, they're running on a separate system. So every day they do their end of day report. There's 2 ladies there, and every day somebody in the finance department has to manually key in that information into the system. Building department does their own software also. So every day that they have a transaction over there, they do their end of day report. We have to manually key in that in our system. This will allow for the import of that data into our system. It will also facilitate and lessen the burden to the departments. We envision that right now for a department to submit an invoice for payment, they have to do an invoice requisition. They have to fill out an actual paper. Somebody in the department has to sign off on it, submit it to the finance department, then we key it in and we approve it, I approve it, then Mary approves it. It's a process. With this software, everything will start and end in the finance department. The finance clerks will key in the invoice. The department director will get an email saying, hey, you have all these invoices for you to review and approve. They will open up the invoices. They will click on them, approve them. If they want to make any changes to the geocoding or anything like that, that can be done right there on the fly immediately, and it's going to automate the process a lot. Payroll, the same thing. It is going to automate that. Right now it is a manual process. It takes about maybe 2 to 2.5 days to do. We're hoping to automate that, where there's going to be electronic timesheets that are going to feed into our system, and it's going to be a lot. I'm hoping maybe a day, half a day process, where it used to take us maybe up to 2 days to 2.5 days to do. It is quite an investment. I understand it's not a tangible thing that you can touch and you can go see that it's a paved street or anything like that. I totally am very cognizant of that. This has been something that I've been looking at for well over a year. It's not something that I've, one day decided. It is something that we need, that the department needs, that the city needs to continue operating. We do have partial funding for this. We have $99,658 of the $115 that's needed right now, that's been earmarked for this ERP system at the moment.
Can you give me the amount again?
Excuse me?
The amount again?
Of what? Of what we have?
Yes.
We have $99,658.
And where did that come from?
That came from a tax note that we issued back in 2024. There were some cost savings that were associated with some of the projects, and we earmarked that funding for this because we saw the need for the system. So we already have that partial funding. This is not something that's going to happen overnight either. Like if you approve the project today, it's going to, before we go live, it's going to take us anywhere from 12 to 18 months. It is a big undertaking. I have done transition software 3 other times in my work experience. It is not something that's done lightly. It is a big, I cannot stress that enough. You are transferring employee information, you're transferring utility customer information, vendor information. We're going to have to run concurrent payrolls, concurrent billing to make sure that the data that we're going to go live with at that point is correct. It is a big project. It is, it is going to be a lot of work.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
With spending this kind of money, and I mean, I agree, there's probably the need, I have no doubt. Well, instead of having to key in, have you looked into a system that will integrate the whole city?
The thing is that there's a lot of departments that are already running their own separate system. Like municipal court already likes what they're doing with Tyler Technology. The building department just went with OpenGov. The aquatic center and the civic center, they like their rec desk. Their systems are specifically for that industry. So it would be somewhat difficult, I would say, at this point, getting everybody to comply and come into one umbrella. I'm not saying it's an impossibility, but you would have to have all these departments agree to move to one specific one department. Like the building department just transitioned to OpenGov about a year and a half. That was a major financial investment the city made. The return on our investment would not be there if we were to say tomorrow let's all change to Cassell.
Right, and I understand. What I'm trying to say is, quite frankly, I don't care what anybody wants. As a city, we need to do what's best for the city in the long term.
Correct.
And if and I understand they just integrated with the system, what's the opportunity or possibility of in time them integrating so everybody is on the same system? So at the end of the day, it does save the city some money.
I will say that I didn't evaluate this software based on integrating all those other departments into it. Seeing specifically, my point is with like the building department that they just transitioned to OpenGov and we made a big investment there.
Sure.
That possibility of, I know that let me backtrack. Those departments like the building department, they really like OpenGov. It is a robust software that they are thoroughly enjoying. And I don't know if Cassell has those features for them that would be the same way that OpenGov works for them.
Sandra,
yes,
is
ma'am.
Cassell more of a financial system?
Yes. It is more of an accounting ERP. It does have the building module to it, but it's not as robust as OpenGov. We could go with OpenGov, but you're looking at a $500,000 investment.
Right. Now, I'm trying to see long-term wise.
Yes.
Even if there are different systems, are the different systems able to be integrated into the main system?
Not
over
integrated
time?
per se. What's going to happen is every evening there's going to be a CSV file or an Excel file that is currently being created. So every evening in the morning we can upload that into our system and it's going to post it automatically. Right now what we have to do is we have to manually key it in. The integration is going to come in where we're going to be able to upload that file into our system and we're no longer having to key in any of that information. That information is going to be posted automatically.
Okay, so to make sure I understand it correctly,
Yes, ma'am.
So basically the systems can, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, talk to each other, where you can get the info from one system and input it into your current system.
Yeah, they can do that to a certain extent, yes.
Okay, now I'm good. I'm okay
Yes.
with that, Mary.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah,
Yes.
what I don't want to happen is in 2-3 years from now, say, oh, by the way, now we need to do this, or now we need to do that.
No.
We need to make sure that everything can work together.
Yes, that's why it's been a year undertaking to narrow it down to look at all these softwares because it wasn't a decision that we entered lightly. It was let's see what's going to work for us. Yes, no, most certainly, yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool.
I'll make a motion that we accept this project. Which one is it?
B.
B, consideration approving the board Cassell that contract for RFP 2025-002, Enterprise Resource Planning ERP.
Read them out.
Oh, I'm sorry, for the amount of $115,670.
Okay, we got a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, now moving into consideration of approving a RFP for a stormwater pump station on Wheeler and Huff.
I don't have to explain this one, just going to approve it. Is that cool?
Huh?
I don't have to explain it, just approve it.
Yes, to me, you know, I don't need to hear, you guys, I don't need to hear nothing on this one.
Hey, just do it.
Yeah. So we currently have 3 pump stations, obviously Pump Station 1 at Maddox, Pump Station 2 at Goodnight, and then Euclid. This will be to build a 4th pump station. I know flooding has always been an issue here in Aransas. We have just upgraded 2 of our pump stations to brand new pumps. We're currently getting one engineered, which is Euclid, which would be a major upgrade. And while we're at it, we're just going to throw in a 4th pump station with some leftover funds from FEMA. The design is almost complete, so I'm trying to be proactive here. I didn't want to get the design and wait for the next council meeting for RFP. So at this point, all I need is just permission to start advertising once the plans and the bid packets are ready. And once we get the bids in, we'll bring forward the lowest bid. And assuming they're within budget, then it would be on your hands to approve or deny.
Deal.
So
Make a
these
mo-
funds are already secured.
Yes,
Perfect.
we have funds ready, and the estimate should be within the budget is what we're anticipating.
Awesome.
I make a motion, we approve consideration for approving the issuance of a request for RFP for a stormwater pump on Wheeler and Huff.
All right, we got a motion, we have a second.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, moving into consideration of approving an amendment to the facility license agreement between the City of Aransas Pass and Roland Pena to allow for an entry gate fee of $5 for industrial team games only.
Good afternoon. Congratulations, new council members.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, sir.
Y'all have any questions on this new amendment that we want to?
Yeah, where is it?
I have no idea what this is.
I've been out there for the last 24 plus years doing the adult league out there. I started out with the kids and so forth. I've been doing it. I just like doing it. It's something I like, enjoy doing. Like I say, I'm having problems collecting entry fees sometimes with the teams that come from Brownsville, the Valley and stuff, because sometimes their jobs change. Sometimes they're there maybe half a season. And I work on a boat, I'm gone, tugboat captain for 3 weeks at a time, 3 weeks off, 3 weeks on. And when I get back, I can't collect no money. So, to collect any fee to be able to pay y'all's lease. So I brought this up to Mary that I would try, I had a gentleman come, one of the superintendents from Bedcool or Kiewit or somewhere, one of them, somewhere. I got 8 teams that are industrial teams out there. I got 4 regular teams. I had 6, but 2 of them were industrials, but they're getting the hell beat out of them by my local teams. They play, I've had guys out there 20 years. So my reason for this is the $5 is I'm not going to charge an entry fee. That way I get gate fee. That way I get able to get the money then, because believe it or not, grown men are even worse than kids. It's hard collecting money from them. I'm seriously, it's very hard. They'll go out there with their Cokes and their drinks and everything. Can't even get $5 out of them. I have to, and then when I'm not there, you know, I have to go hunt them down. And that's usually my local teams, but I know them, I know where they live, so I find them one way or another. But the industrial teams, they're gone. And I'm stuck with a bill, and I've eaten quite a bit and come out of my own pocket. If I didn't make good money, I would have gave the lease back to y'all a lot of times.
Okay,
But
I'm
if
kind
I-
of confused.
So
What
let me
is
just
this?
say, let me just say, Council, right now, his agreement states that he'll charge a $2
$2.
Entry fee. What he wants to do, he wants to add a fee for just the industrial teams and charge $5, but just for the industrial team games.
Baseball teams?
Softball.
Softball. Slow pitch,
My
men's.
bad, Roland
I'm
called
sorry.
me. Roland had called me, I talked to Mary, my bad, Roland,
Yeah.
these guys.
Okay, I thought y'all were
Yeah.
kind of got filled in a little
Yeah.
bit. I've been, like I say, it's men's slow pitch. All these teams here are local, or they're industrial from Kiewit or whatever refineries there. It has people from people from the valley and stuff. And I supply the fields, the grass, cut the grass, and chalk the field, supply the umpires and so forth for them to come out there and play. We play usually on Wednesdays. It's been kind of slow, but now there's a lot of work going on right now, turnarounds. So now I've got like 8 and maybe 10 industrial teams they want to play. But they want to play from 7:30 sometimes to 9:30. And they play four teams on Tuesday and 4 teams on Thursday. And they want to go, since I played regular league on Wednesday, they want to come have one field. So I told them they could play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Is this
But-
charging the audience or?
Everybody,
Charging
that way it covers the
everybody that goes
cost.
in there to watch
Yeah,
it?
yes, everybody.
Yeah,
Flat
pretty
rate.
much.
It used to
So
should be $5, but like I said, I'm not charging entry. In other words, I used to charge a league fee. I'm doing away from. I want to do that away from the industrial team because, like I say, sometimes I don't even collect. The
Who's
money.
gonna collect the money?
Sir?
Who's gonna collect the
I
money?
have a worker that works for me, and he's going to be there when I'm on the boat and stuff. He goes and sits at the gates and patrols it and makes everything going good. And I have Rudy, an umpire that helps me out. He's been out there with 15 years with me. He's really good. He's actually the umpire for all high schools in the South area, and he does college games and stuff. So we do have UIL umpires out there that are actually, they got their certificates. They're not just somebody off the street, hey, I can do this. No, these guys they do games. We try to keep it as professional as possible. But like I say, the only thing I come up here is I want to collect $5 instead of asking for the
league fee.
the team fees.
Yeah,
That way I don't get, when I come back, I have to go chase them. I don't know where to chase them at because they're not there no more.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, he's basically wanting to do this so he can cover the maintenance and it cover the
Yes.
price of the lease.
Is
That's
the
it.
people gonna pay that though?
They've been paying it.
The $2, yeah.
Oh, they were playing it on Wednesday. Now, last week, I did a trial run on it. We just started, and nobody's complained.
Is this kid games or are they adult
No, they're
games?
adults. These are grown men.
Okay, so
They're all grown men.
my only reservation is specific to the industrial teams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid we're going to have backlash
Okay.
from the industrial teams saying, why would you pay when the other teams don't? And please understand, I'm only understanding half of what you're telling me.
Okay.
Just because I don't know where the other part of the teams come from. I'm afraid someone will say, well, why aren't they paying it, yet we have to pay it?
Well,
Or
that's
is
what I'm.
everybody going to pay it?
Well, that's what I'm gonna do. I just make it flat out $5 for everybody. That way, there's no favoritism on one side or the other. However you want to put it. I'm gonna just do flat rate Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday
Is it per person or per vehicle?
per person. Per person.
But this is just for industrial games?
Yes, industrial games.
It's just like Kiewit has a
Yeah.
league and they go out there. He doesn't have to go collect the league fee. It's already paid because everybody had to pay $5
Yeah, and then-
So
to get
are
it.
there other games that you do that are not industrial games?
Yes, on
that we-
Wednesday nights. I usually have my regular local teams, which are from Rockport, Taft, or Ingleside, Aransas Pass. Just
But-
local areas.
And those pay a league fee?
They pay a league fee, plus they pay $2 at the gate.
How do y'all feel about that?
I think it's good. I mean, that way he's doing this so it's not coming out of his pocket.
Well, and I
Covering all the charges.
And I understand that. I just don't want backlash from one group saying, well, they don't have to pay that, why do we pay? I want to make sure it's
Well, you
fair
know what
across
we
the
can do
board.
now? We can just do it all the way straight through and try it like that.
That, I'd be more comfortable with
Okay,
that.
that's
Just
fine.
That way
I don't have a
everybody-
problem. As
it's-
long as it
it's
covers
fair for
y'all's, the
everybody.
lease and stuff, and I can pay my guys to go out to do the work and stuff.
So
And
are you not going to charge a league fee? to
no, I
the
won't
other-
charge a league fee.
Well, okay, so let's do the math real fast. What do you typically charge for league fee?
I charge $300 for it to be 8 games per playoffs. Sometimes it's 10. It goes up to like a
300
month and a half.
For 8 games?
Mm-hmm.
For one person?
No, for one team.
Oh, for one
$300
team.
Yes.
Okay, and how many people are on a team?
Anywhere from 10 to 12.
10 to 12. Okay, so 300 divided by 8, it's 3750 divided by, we're going high end 12. So you're talking $3.12 per person. So it's an up of less than $2 per person if you go to the flat rate, if there are 12 people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
300 divided by 8 divided by 10, you're at 375 if it's only 10 people. So there is a small increase for our locals. That's what I'm trying to get at, is,
Usually there's not even locals out there. It's just mostly, you can go out there on Wednesday night when I have my local teams. It's just people playing. That's it. I might have 5, 6. You've been out there, Jason. There's not a lot of people out there. The only ones that do actually come out there is the people from the valley that come down here and play. They'll bring their friends a little bit, and then they kind of talk noise to each other.
Yeah.
More of a work.
Well, this
But-
industrial deal won't, it
I just
won't,
wanna-
yeah, it won't.
Level.
It won't cause backlash. I mean,
No.
I would feel more comfortable leaving it for the industrial, since that's where he's having trouble getting the money and getting paid. And then if there is backlash, then maybe you can come back and let us know.
That's fine.
It's hey, that, and then we could revisit it again, because the other teams are playing, the other leagues are paying.
Yeah.
It's just the industrial ones you're
Yeah.
having a hard time getting the money from.
But the only thing is they want to play on Wednesday. So I only have 4 teams right now because 2 of my other teams, I used to have 6 teams. 2 of my other teams were industrial teams.
Yeah,
So I'm down to 4 regular teams because they got tired of getting beat up.
yeah.
I'm talking beat up. 30-5, 30-6.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm serious. These guys win tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, we want you here by all means. We just want to make sure people understand why.
Yeah.
My opinion, Roland's been doing this a long time. He goes out of his way to like repair fences,
Mhm.
repair buildings.
I built that park. That 2 fields right there, I redid it.
He's one of the best leaseholders we have for anything in town, and in my opinion, whatever Roland says, I'll do it because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, if the locals are paying it, then
Yeah.
let's just
But
see.
where I'm going to get in my conflict is the guys call me this. I don't know this guy. His name is I think his name is Edgar. His nickname is don't give me mine. He's got a nickname. All the Spanish guys from the valley, they all got nicknames.
Yeah, I got nicknames.
Anyway, he's the one coordinate this with me, and he's the one getting all the guys together, and that's it gives us something to do because it keeps them out of bars,
Sure.
and I don't know. It just has some
They go
place
to
for them
bars
to go.
afterwards.
Exactly.
They go to the bar afterwards.
Well, no, if you don't know their wives, no, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Valley
Okay, I
wives are
make a
very,
motion
very,
that we accept D, consideration of approving amendment for facility license agreement between City of Aransas Pass and Roland Pena to increase the gate fee to $5.
Industrial
teams,
teams.
I'm sorry.
We got a motion, we have a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries.
All right, thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along to consideration of approving amendment number 2 to professional services agreement between the City of Aransas Pass and Safeville, Texas.
It says amendment, but it's a renewal. It's a renewal for another year. We have had this agreement with Safeville since 2022. They provide the city with a valuable service. Some of the services that they provide include, plan review of construction plans for both residential and commercial or construction, trade permit inspections such as plumbing, electrical, mechanical. They also do certificate of occupancy inspections, and most recently we added planning services.
How much does that cost, Mary?
Well, we use them as needed, so it varies. But I can tell you that their fees have not increased since 2022.
That we're using them right now, that's correct?
Yes, sir.
I make a motion, we consider action item E, consideration approving amendment to number 2 professional service agreement between City of Aransas Pass and Safe Built Texas Incorporated LLC through June 9, 2026.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
I have a question. Why aren't we doing this in-house? Just asking. Do we not have the manpower? Why aren't we doing it in-house?
Well, let Joseph
Yeah.
know how they answer, let Joseph
Yeah.
explain.
Hello, Mayor Council.
You knew I would ask.
I saw you looking right at me. So at the moment, we do have the posting for a plumbing inspector posted. I do have a couple of applicants that I am going to be interviewing soon. As far as the electrical inspector, we are not budgeted for an electrical inspector. Just last week, I did ask for that at the budget
The
meeting.
budget meeting. Yeah.
So basically, we're working on being able to do it in-house.
Exactly.
Perfect. I'm good with that.
Yes. Safe
That's
Building
being
isn't going to
used
be
for
around
planning
forever
right
for
now
us.
also.
Yeah, that's right.
Sir?
They're using for planning also, so we're just bundling everything up into one. All right. well,
As Mary said, it's as needed, but we're working towards not needing them.
That's what's good.
That's what I like. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Joseph. favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, now we're
Executive
gonna
session.
move into executive session. Texas Government Code, section 551-071, to meet with the attorney to seek legal advice on a matter which the duty of the attorney, the city council under the Texas disciplinary rules, professional conduct of the state of Texas clearly conflicts with the Texas Open Meetings Act relating to Jason Falwell versus City of Ranch Pass.
And you do have another one that was added in the supplemental agenda.
It's in the email.
Oh.
If you like.
Oh, there we go, my bad. Texas Government Code, section 551-074, to deliberate the resignation of the city secretary. And my deal is
650.
650.
This will be short, sweet, and simple. I hope.
Beef jerky.
You're up.
Is the mic thing on over there?
Mine's on.
I can, it's moved forward. It's, okay, okay.
Okay. All right, we're gonna reconvene in open session, and it's 7:29. And we have one item that we need to act on.
And I'm going to make a motion to accept the resignation of City Secretary Candace Garrett, effective today, 6/16, but it will remain on the payroll through the date of her resignation, which is this Friday, June 20th.
Okay, we've got a motion with.
Second.
Got a second? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And this meeting is adjourned. I don't know why I whacked it for a second.
You like that gavel?
I do, it's mine.
I'm fixing to take it away from you.
It's like a little
Take
kid.
that one, you can take it in.
Here, come here.